Whenever Courtney listened back to her own voice, it left her with an uneasy feeling, almost as if the sound didn't fully belong to her. There was something raw, something larger than life in it, and hearing it played back made her feel exposed. Yet that same voice would soon captivate millions. At just 13 years old, she stepped onto a brightly lit stage, small in stature, but carrying a presence that filled the entire room. The audience didn't yet know what they were about to witness. There was no grand introduction that could prepare them for the storm of emotion she would unleash. As the music began, hesitation flickered for only a moment before it disappeared completely. What followed was not just a performance but a release, something deeply personal that resonated far beyond the stage. This was the beginning of a journey that would take her from a quiet village in England to global recognition. But behind the applause and astonishment was a story far more layered than the audience could see. Her rise was not simply about talent, it was about resilience, identity, and the quiet battles she fought within herself. Long before the spotlight found her, Courtney Hadwin was just a young girl trying to understand her voice, both literally and emotionally, and what it meant to share it with the world. Roots of a dream in a quiet English village. Courtney's story began in a small, peaceful village in County Durham, where life moved at a gentler pace. Born into a supportive family, she was surrounded by encouragement from the very beginning. Her parents recognized something special in her early on, not just talent, but a genuine connection to music that seemed almost instinctive. Music filled their home, not as background noise but as something alive and meaningful. From a very young age, Courtney responded to rhythm and melody with an enthusiasm that couldn't be taught. She would dance freely, hum along, and lose herself in songs she barely understood but deeply felt. These early moments were more than childhood play, they were the foundation of her identity. Her parents nurtured this passion carefully, giving her space to explore, while also guiding her growth. They didn't push her toward fame or expectations, they simply supported her love for music. In school, her abilities began to stand out even more. Teachers noticed not only her vocal strength, but also the emotion she carried in every note. Joining the choir became a turning point, offering her a sense of belonging and confidence. Though still young, she was already discovering that music wasn't just something she enjoyed, it was something she needed, discovering confidence through music and community. As Courtney grew older, her relationship with music deepened, and so did her confidence. What began as playful singing at home slowly transformed into structured learning and performance. Her school became a nurturing ground where her abilities could flourish. Choir rehearsals, small performances, and encouragement from teachers helped her step out of her comfort zone. She began to understand the power of her voice, not just in technical terms, but in how it could move people. Outside of school, her passion spilled into her community. She formed a small group with neighborhood children, creating music together in an environment that was both supportive and exciting. These early collaborations taught her valuable lessons about teamwork, creativity, and the joy of sharing music with others. Local performances, though modest, gave her a taste of what it meant to connect with an audience. Each applause, each smile from listeners reinforced her belief in herself. The recognition she received, even in small ways, began to shape her dreams. She was no longer just singing for fun, she was beginning to imagine a future where music could be her path. Yet, despite her growing confidence, she remained grounded, still the same girl practicing in her room, chasing something she couldn't fully explain, but deeply believed in: the discipline behind the natural talent. While Courtney's talent seemed effortless to outsiders, there was a great deal of discipline behind it. She approached music with a seriousness that set her apart from many her age. Practice became a daily routine, not out of obligation, but out of genuine desire to improve. She paid attention to details, breathing techniques, vocal control, and emotional delivery. Even at a young age, she understood that singing was more than hitting the right notes, it was about telling a story. Her dedication extended beyond practice sessions. She began writing her own lyrics, experimenting with ways to express her thoughts and feelings through music. This creative process allowed her to connect more deeply with her art, making each performance more authentic. Her training at a local theater school further refined her skills, introducing her to new techniques and perspectives. Under the guidance of experienced mentors, she learned how to shape her voice, and channel her emotions effectively. These lessons were not always easy, but she embraced them with determination. Every improvement, no matter how small, fueled her ambition. She wasn't chasing perfection, she was chasing expression. This balance between natural ability and hard work became a defining aspect of her journey, preparing her for opportunities she could only begin to imagine. Dreams that reached beyond her hometown. By the time she reached her early teens, Courtney's dreams had grown far beyond the boundaries of her hometown. The small stages she once performed on were no longer enough to contain her ambitions. She began to envision herself on larger platforms, sharing her voice with a wider audience. These dreams were not fueled by a desire for fame, but by a longing to be heard and understood. She started setting goals for herself, writing them down and holding on to them as a source of motivation. Her determination became evident in the way she prepared for opportunities, saving money and making plans that reflected her commitment. The idea of traveling to another country to pursue her dreams was both exciting and intimidating. It meant stepping into the unknown, leaving behind the comfort of familiarity. Yet, with the support of her family, she found the courage to take that leap. Their belief in her never wavered, and it became a steady source of strength. As she prepared for this next chapter, she carried with her not just her talent, but also the values instilled in her: hard work, humility, and resilience. These qualities would soon be tested in ways she could never have anticipated. The audition that changed everything. The moment Courtney stepped onto the stage for her audition marked a turning point in her life. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation, yet she stood there quietly, almost unassuming. At first glance, she seemed like any other young contestant, but that perception quickly shattered as soon as she began to sing. The transformation was immediate and striking. Her voice, filled with grit and emotion, commanded attention in a way that few could ignore. The judges, initially uncertain, were visibly taken aback. The audience fell into a stunned silence before erupting into applause. It wasn't just her vocal ability that impressed them, it was the authenticity of her performance. She didn't mimic others, she brought her own interpretation, her own feeling into the song. This authenticity resonated deeply, making her stand out in a competition filled with talent. The reaction was overwhelming, not only in the theater but also beyond it. Her performance quickly gained attention online, reaching millions of viewers within a short time. What had started as a single audition became a global moment, introducing her to audiences around the world. Sudden fame and its emotional impact. With recognition came a wave of changes that Courtney had to navigate quickly. The sudden attention was both exciting and overwhelming. Messages poured in from fans, media outlets sought interviews, and her life shifted almost overnight. For someone so young, this level of exposure brought challenges that went beyond the stage. She found herself balancing the joy of success with the pressure of expectations. Every performance now carried a weight that hadn't been there before. People were watching, analyzing, and anticipating her next move. Despite this, she remained grounded, often expressing simple truths about her love for music. She didn't see herself as a sensation. She saw herself as someone who loved to sing. This perspective helped her stay connected to her purpose, even as the world around her changed. Her family continued to play a crucial role, providing stability and guidance. They reminded her of who she was before the fame, helping her navigate this new reality with a sense of balance. Still, beneath the surface, there were moments of doubt and vulnerability, reminders that she was still growing and learning in the midst of it all. A sudden tragedy that halted momentum. Just as her career was gaining momentum, an unexpected event brought everything to a halt. The accident came without warning, turning what should have been a routine journey into a moment of fear and uncertainty. In the aftermath, the focus shifted from performances and opportunities to recovery and healing. The physical injuries were challenging, but the emotional impact was equally significant. Plans were canceled, schedules disrupted, and the future became uncertain. For someone who had been moving forward so quickly, this sudden felt disorienting. Yet, in the midst of this hard time, there was an outpouring of support from fans, fellow performers, and the community. Messages of encouragement and care reminded her that she was not alone. This collective support became a source of strength, helping her face the hard journey ahead. The accident, though devastating, also marked the beginning of a different chapter, one focused not on achievement, but on recovery and self-reflection. The slow and challenging road to recovery. Recovery was neither quick nor easy. It required patience, discipline, and a willingness to start from the beginning. Physical therapy became a central part of her routine, challenging her in ways she hadn't experienced before. Simple movements that were once effortless now required focus and determination. Each small improvement felt like a victory, a step toward reclaiming her strength. At the same time, she had to take care of her mental well-being, limiting activities and allowing herself time to rest. This period of stillness, though difficult, also offered an opportunity for reflection. She began to reconnect with music in a quieter, more personal way. Instead of performing for large audiences, she sang softly, focusing on the essence of her voice. This shift allowed her to rediscover her passion without the pressure of expectations. Her family and community remained by her side, offering support and encouragement. Their presence made the journey less isolating, reminding her that recovery was not something she had to face alone. Rediscovering music through healing. During her recovery, music took on a new meaning in Courtney's life. It was no longer just a means of expression or performance. It became a source of healing. She began writing again, pouring her experiences into lyrics that reflected her journey. These songs carried a depth and honesty that came from real struggle. In her small home studio, she experimented with sounds, rediscovering her voice at her own pace. There was no rush, no pressure, just a genuine connection to her art. This period allowed her to grow not only as a singer but also as a person. She learned to embrace vulnerability, understanding that it was not a weakness but a strength. The support she received from those around her reinforced this.